guys, it's Hollie here for Access PlayStation. I'm with Andreas, who is the lead level designer on Mad Max, which I've just seen and is looking crazy good. Now, the one thing about Mad Max, came out in 1979 for the film, quite a while ago. So there'll be a lot of people now are really into gaming that may never have seen the film. So do you want to give us a little bit of backstory?
Well, Mad Max is always an iconic franchise from the 80s, and it's all about Max as a character who's a solitary survivor trying to live in a post-apocalyptic world. And I think the IP definitely is as relevant today as it was back then. It's sort of the granddaddy of post-apocalyptic worlds.
Now, we saw lots of vehicle combat, a lot of vehicle combat. Do you want to talk us through the combat system? Because it's everything from shooting out the windows, there was harpoon guns, and then there's stopping and Max just getting out into the back of the car and just pulling out a sniper rifle.
Yeah, I mean, we've really paid a lot of attention to giving the player a lot of tools. I mean, we're Avalanche Studios, so we're kind of known for giving the player a lot of tools to play in open world games with, and we want to keep that true for Mad Max as well. So you'll have, as part of your car upgrades, you'll have a lot of different weaponry. You'll have ramming upgrades, so you'll have armor upgrades, and it really depends on the player's style and how the player chooses to engage in combat. And we really want to foster that.
You just mentioned customization. Customization of this is very, very, very deep. Do you want to give us some of what we saw, some of the options, just some idea of the scale of this?
I mean, today we've only shown a brief glimpse at it, so you've not even seen all of it. Today we showed off quite a heavy ramming grill, which you'll be able to get later in the game. We've got engine upgrades, we've got armor upgrades, we've got different weapon upgrades, we've got tires, because the actual surfaces of the world affect how the car behaves as well.
Now, we went to Jeet, I believe his name was, for quests. How does that push the story forward, and how do we find these people and the quests they can give us?
Well, the wasteland is obviously is not entirely devoid of life, and there are survivors in there, and they're trying to battle for survival. And some of these groups of survivors kind of form together, and they try to find strong places or built-up places, and we call them strongholds in our game. And Jeet is an old lighthouse, so the fortification gives a barrier and a protection to the people in it. And each of these strongholds kind of has a leader figure, one person that emerges to kind of dominate the others, not always in a good way, but also not always in the bad way. And Max has to try really hard to forge alliances, because even though he's almost on his own all the way through, he will need the help of others to kind of survive and get his car rebuilt.
And we were driving this, really, really big open world. Can you give us an idea of how the scale of this environment that you've created?
It's actually really hard to tell. We're still in the middle of development here. I mean, you've seen a pre-alpha build here. We don't actually know how big the world is going to be at the end of it. What we try to do is we try to create the right gameplay density so that the player always has something to do and to explore. And the world's going to be how big it's going to be at the end of it, basically.
That sounds perfect. I know Mad Max is coming in 2014. You guys can stay tuned to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/PlayStation Access, for all the latest news from Gamescom.